Greetings to everybody. Welcome to this second session on this embarking on the journey of living from the heart series. Our goal in this class is to share the understanding and the principles behind the heartfulness practices so we all feel motivated to practice. Our learning continues further from last week's understanding of the meditation process. What we gathered last week is that mind needs to come into the heart's silence and acquire the quality of the heart. That is, thinking mind merges with the feeling heart. And then what happens? The thinking heart moves into a state of feeling, and it moves further into becoming, and further into a state of being, and eventually it gets lost in this state of non-being, which is known as the state of witness. So in meditation, we move from observer to witness, which the sage Patanjali, he called this as the choice-making mind. The quality of the choice-making mind, it leaves its ability of choice-making and it falls into a state of choiceless awareness. That is the state of witness, choiceless awareness. So to arrive at this state of, from this state of choice-making to choiceless awareness, in between, what do we need to do? To move from thinking to a non-being state, what do we need to do? At every moment, you let go. That is why the Hindu sages call this state neti, neti, neti. And our revered Daji calls it weeding. So when we arrive at this state of non-being, which is supposed to be the samadhi state, absolute balance, what is it? It is a state of direct and reliable perception. Now the perception is pure. It is a reliable perception where the seer, the self, abides in that pure consciousness. It abides in itself, which is the higher self. And that is true meditation. And the interaction between the self, the seer, and the prakriti, the nature, the scene, in its purity is known as darshana, which actually means witnesshood. You witness. You don't even, you don't exist. It's a state of witnesshood. And this witnesshood is simply the choiceless awareness of the totality of what it is. That is why yoga is known as, by sage Patanjali, chitta vritti nirodha, a state of being in which this ideational choice-making movement, it comes to a stillness, standstill. And this can be arrived only by meditation. Meditation is the only process that we can arrive at this stage. So what happens in meditation? There is an withdrawal or an inversion happens where we move from the periphery, we move to the roots, from outward to inward. We contract by first beginning to contract the body in the posture. That is why asana is important. And then we contract the thought from out to inward. Pratyahara is important. And then mind comes to stillness, which allows clear perception to operate. So out of this withdrawal process, this state of witnesshood happens and a new mind is born. This is what sage Patanjali says. He says, out of this withdrawal process, a new mind, which is a meditative mind, is born. And he calls it dhyanaja chitta, meditative mind, consciousness. And this mind has two levels. One is born out of impressions. And then we are conditioned. We are trapped in that samskaras. When the mind is conditioned by its program of the impressions, it's a conditioned mind. And that is a trapped mind. But a mind born out of withdrawal from that impressions, neti neti, and it is free and liberated, that is a meditative mind. So the basic steps to arrive at this meditative mind state is relax, breathe, divert the thought flow to the center of the heart and rest in the heart. That's how great masters are of the Sahaj Marg heartfulness tradition, that they made it so simple. All the vast knowledge of the Vedas and the Upanishads and the yogic philosophy and the sutras, everything combined together in a very simple process of meditation, heartfulness meditation. So what is the role of transmission here? Transmission is this vibration or life force that emanates from the guide's consciousness, from the highest superconscious state that exists on the earth plane. And how does transmission work? It is in a mundane way. Transmission acts like a walking stick and it supports our awareness so that we can actually turn inwards and expand into other dimensions. So it's the transmission that diverts the flow of the thought, the flow of your awareness. Now you're only aware of this external world. And even that we are not fully aware. Now transmission aids this flow to go inward and expands you into these higher dimensions. And it helps us, the transmission actually helps us transcend from one level of the chit to soar into the superconscious and dive into the deepest subconscious. And that's what its primary role is. So another concept that we need to understand is we have this physical matter, energy field, and the absolute state. Physical matter is the body, physical body. Energy field is our subtle body. Absolute is the soul consciousness. So what supports what? The physical body is supported by the energy field, the subtle body field. That is why how the subtle body is, our reactions are in the external world. If this subtle body field is very turbulent and disturbed, the components of this, the organs of this subtle body field, the mind, intellect, and ego are disturbed, our physical world is disturbed. Our physical interactions are disturbed. In this subtle body field are all the energy knots, the chakras, the so-called chakras, starting from the Mooladhara, Manipura, Swadhisthana. And the reason why in heartfulness we start from the heart, meditation from the heart, we ignore the lower three chakras. The lower three chakras are supposed to exist even in the animal kingdom. So what we meditate on is very, very important. This point we all need to know. And sometimes, people used to meditate on the nabi, the navel point. From the navel to below is the animal kingdom also has it. So it has some grosser tendencies. So you don't want to, a human being doesn't want to develop this animal consciousness. Then they are even worse. That is why there is so much criminal activity going on in the earth consciousness. And this is what the sages and the great masters are trying to shift the earth consciousness from this animal, trying to release this human being from this animal consciousness. So in heartfulness, we don't touch those lower points. We start with the heart. And we don't focus the meditation on the sixth point either, because it is also power point. It leads into complete ego, where it can create Ravanas who want power, because it's a PowerPoint. So that is the reason why we meditate on the heart. What is the quality of the heart? Love, state of love. Heart is the seat of the soul. So coming to this, what supports what? If the physical body is being supported by the subtle body, what is the subtle body consciousness field is being supported by? The soul, our self. But our soul doesn't have enough potency to clear our own consciousness. We are a speck of that ultimate. So what is being the transmission that emanates from the guide's consciousness, the soul, the guide soul, increases our potency. That is why heart is the seat of the soul. So when the guide they transmit to the heart. That means they're actually transmitting it to the soul, our own soul, which increases its potency, and our soul now supports our consciousness. So in true sense, what supports our consciousness? The guide's consciousness. The guide who has the highest consciousness and who is connected to the ultimate source. So it is very, very important to find the right guide. So that is why transmission is given to the heart of the person. Heart being connected to the soul, our consciousness. And with the transmission, our soul's potency increases and we are supporting our consciousness. And the veils in the consciousness, there is no veil in the soul. The veils are all in our conscious field, subtle body field. In the chakras, when they are covered, that is why we cannot perform. When the earth point, the first point, is clogged, there is no balance. We all understood that. When the ether element is clogged, there is no peace. When the fire element is disturbed, there is only anger. There is only emotional disturbance. When the water element is disturbed, there is only fear. When the air element is disturbed, there is no clarity. So what does the transmission that goes into the soul of the being does? It refines from behind. It refines our own consciousness. It refines the fields of all these elements. So a being comes into balance. Why is it happening this way? That is why Lord Krishna gave this example of a tree, a Swaddha Vriksha, it's called. It is literally a fig tree. But it is described, its roots are above and the branches are below. And in between is the stem. So they implied that a being gets his sustenance from above and he lives in this external world. And for our roots to touch the source, to the ultimate Brahman, at least nowadays it is not possible. We do not have enough potency. The soul doesn't have enough potency to directly draw the sustenance from the ultimate Brahman. There comes the role of the guide. There comes the role of the guide's highest consciousness, who gives that sustenance. So our roots are rooted in the superconscious field of the living guide, from whom, like a baby, we are drawing the sustenance and we are able to live in the physical world, because now the stem, the subtle body, is being refined with this sustenance of transmission, releasing the veils, releasing the impurities, allowing the flow to happen. There is a flow happening in all these chakras. Just like blood is flowing, transmission is flowing in this subtle body. Prana is flowing. When that prana gets clogged, veils are stronger. Then as a human being, we do not express our humanness. A true human being who is supposed to be absolutely balanced will have a heart full of love and kindness and compassion and an emotional stability and an immense courage, an immense clarity, an immense balance, an immense peace. This is supposed to be a real human state of being. That is why what you meditate on is very, very important. You meditate on the heart, not on the nabi, not on the sixth point, not on the lower points, because you become what you meditate upon. And that is the beginning of the fall, when we meditate on the wrong things. So another important aspect in this class, as I show the PowerPoints, we'll talk about is, for you to connect to the draw from that ultimate Brahman, we don't have the potency. So we tap into the consciousness, the superconscious of the guide, how to communicate to this source, because the superconscious of the guide is not the physical master. And the source field, the superconscious field, cannot absorb the thoughts. Thought cannot penetrate there. That is the reason for a prayer to be answered, for us to be connected to the ultimate Brahman, we have to at least first practice where we move from thinking to feeling. Feeling is a vibration. Thought is not a vibration. Thought is a grosser form of vibration. It could be a vibration, but it is in a very heavier form, so it cannot penetrate to the source. It has to be a feeling. So a state of prayer is an intention, a humble intention, and a feeling. So you have to arrive at that state for us to tap into that and draw the sustenance for our life. That is why in the prayer, first we fix the goal. And another thing is, when you go into that source field offering a prayer for the sustenance, it only resonates with us when you really long for it. Here, because of the pull of the external world, we have so many desires that are pulling our weight. So when you come into that state of being, recognizing and communicating this feeling to the ultimate source through the superconscious state of the guide, you are saying, you are the goal of human life. What is putting bar between you and me is this weight, this desire that's pulling me down. Only you can bring me to that state. It's a state of being. It is not begging. It is not like a traditional prayer that you repeat. It is a state of being. And that is only with this feeling you can communicate to the superconscious of the guide. You cannot even communicate to the physical master. Physical master is just a body that is carrying his superconscious state. So that is why true darshana can only happen in the heart. So prayer is an attitude. It is a feeling. That is why we arrive at the state of humility to attract the flow of the vibration of the source towards us. I want to share the screen now so we can all understand with the PowerPoints what I am just communicated the essence of. So the heartfulness practice, it's all about arriving at clear perception. And they arose in the earliest 20th century as a result of the original research of revered Lalaji Maharaj, who is known as the Adi Guru, the first teacher, and his disciple revered Babaji. So the basic practice is known as meditation with yogic transmission. Without the transmission, there is no change in us. Without the transmission, when somebody meditates, it is like we are only traveling in the same room. We are going around in circles. With meditation, you are moving into the next level and the next level. It is a heart-based meditation. So during meditation, the subtlest form of the life force is offered to the seeker of yoga by a yogi of a caliber. Who is this yogi of a caliber? This caliber is the most important word. He's the living guide who has the highest consciousness, that is, whose consciousness is connected to the infinite source. The guide is able to draw from the infinite source, and so he can go on transmitting without ever being depleted. That is why even trainers, when they transmit, they're not depleted because they're connected to the guide's field. It is not your money. So when we talk about the potency, why we connect to the Guru's consciousness is, let's say you want to build a house and you only have $10,000. How can you build a house? Now you go to the bank, you borrow the money. So same way, our source, our soul does not have that much potency. That is why we connect to the ultimate bank of the Guru's consciousness. And the nature of soul, the essence of soul is pure love. So transmission is pure love. And offering is an offering, transmission is an offering of pure love from the heart of the guide into the heart of the seeker. So this awakens when we receive the transmission, it awakens infinite possibilities and it facilitates the process of clear perception, which is what we do in the meditation practice. This is the result that happens. So in spiritual evolution, we try to understand the soul. The second layer is the subtle body. The third layer is the physical body. In the subtle body field is this consciousness, mind, intellect, and ego. So in spiritual evolution, we are evolving from the lower complex physical existence to the pure consciousness. And the practices are designed to expand this subtle body field, the second layer. And we already understood the three bodies of the human system: physical, subtle, and causal. Our physical body is with the physical organs, and its evolution depends on our lifestyle. It is associated with matter. And the soul is Atman, Karan Sharir or causal body. It is connected with the absolute, and it is pure, unchanging. So it cannot evolve. Its potency can increase, but it cannot evolve. It cannot, evolution is change. Soul doesn't change, but its potency can increase. So we cannot expect to find evolutionary changes in physical and causal bodies. So only the subtle body is what evolves. It's associated with energy and vibration, and that is why it's called the heart and mind field. It is called the astral body or the mental body. And whatever changes happens here, that is what changes our destiny. It changes according to how we purify it, simplify it. And as the simplification and purification happens, the joy of the soul, the love of the soul starts to shine through us. And that's how consciousness evolves. And so depending on how we manage this energy field, the subtle body field, is how we live our life. And this is where the spiritual practice of meditation, cleansing, bedtime connection, repentance, all this play a vital role in purifying this energy field. In the subtle body is where we store all our daily impressions that we create by living life, either negative or positive. And they get stored in this subtle body depending on the nature of the impressions, and they are stored in different energy knots, and that designs our destiny like a computer program. So we are trying to change this field so we can change the program to live a better life. Through meditation, we regulate the disturbed mind. And when we meditate properly, we regulate our minds properly, and the consciousness evolves. So what gets refined by meditation? The mind, intellect, and ego. So in this subtle body, there are many energy points. First one is the region of the heart, which is what we are more interested in, because this is the foundation. Without the foundation, there is no house. Once the foundation is built, rest of the things automatically fall into place as you keep building them. So the heart region is where all the 5 elements, 5 chakras are. And the mind region has the 7 energy points, and that is the cosmic region. And the central region is with the 7 rings of splendor. It is nothingness, and it's a region of divinity. We begin our practice in the heart region. The steps to meditation is, first step is relaxation. So during relaxation, what happens? These are the meridians or vestibules on the physical side of the body. On both sides, they exist. As our attention comes to this area, just our thought itself releases these vestibules. And now physical energy in the physical body starts to flow. Thereby we are able to move from the physical to the inner level. This is where bath helps us. Taking a bath would help us. Sometimes when you are very dirty and you sit for meditation, you can't. Purification of the body is important. So in the subtle body field of the heart region, 3.5 fingers from the below the left nipple is the first point. 3.5 fingers below the right nipple is the second point. 3.5 fingers above the left nipple is the third point. 3.5 fingers above the right nipple is the fourth point. In between 3 and 4, near the neck plexus, that is where our fifth point is. And the first point is depicted earth element, balance. It's about it, the color is yellow. The second point, Atma Chakra, on the right side is the ether element. If you remember in the first class, I mentioned the first thing that came into existence is space. Space has the ether element. In nature, that is how this is designed also. So we experience that space, that ether element, that freedom, that peace. So we are tempted to move forward. The third element depicted by white color is the fire element, and the fourth is water depicted with black color, and fifth is the air element in green color. In the first point area, there are several subpoints, starting with the center of the sternum, 1 finger width down and going 4 fingers width inward to the left side towards the first point is point B. And this is where all the lower tendencies, impressions that we create, known as kama, krodha, lobha, moha, matsara, excess passion, greed, selfishness, jealousy, all these lower tendencies are stored here. And 2 fingers above is point A. This is a field. Point A is directly connected to the source. So through this point is where we offer the prayer in morning meditation. This is the field that we come into, point A. We utilize the help of point B and point A in the morning meditation to plunge into the depths. And point C is an entry point where impressions enter. And what protects this is remembrance. In remembrance, when you perform, you are not, it is like wearing gloves. When you're going into the muddy field, you wear gloves. So your hands are still clean, you throw the gloves away. Constant remembrance is like these gloves that you wear, working in the dirty field of the earth. And 2 fingers going inward to the left side is point D, where our cellular memory of things that we were not supposed to do, and we did it, or things that we are supposed to do and we didn't do, they all get stored. It's called guilt, but it's not. Repentance in heartfulness practice is not like how the traditional practice is. It is just realizing, introspecting, realizing, and coming to awareness and deeply longing not to do that. The feeling of longing and a feeling of regret that, yes, I made this mistake, that releases that cellular memory. It is not like somebody is coming and trying to forgive you, or somebody is trying to come and punish you for the wrongs. It is just that the feeling of longing to become purer releases the cellular memory in this area and releases you and releases the weight for you, because it is the weight that holds us down instead of moving to the higher regions. At this point we just talked about. And the qualities of the earth element is balance and imbalance. In the positive, it's balance, and the negative, imbalance. Ether is peace and discontent. Fire is emotion and anger. Emotional stability happens, and or you are anger and depressed, and all that negative things are there. And then fear and courage, clarity and illusion. So what are the powers we can utilize to lead a balanced life? Power of the mind. With meditation, we arrive at clarity. power of the heart. With meditation, the strength of the heart, the ability of the heart to love increases. How? How does it increase? That neti neti again. When you remove hatred from your heart, love is already there. That's the nature of our heart. So bit by bit, we have to introspect and remove that. When you remove that, the positiveness automatically comes into being. And the power of prayer that we talked about, this feeling of humbleness, I am nothing, you are everything. And power of intention. That power of intention is this immense faith and confidence because you have experienced that self, that ultimate self is present within you. The foundation is within you. And so you know by using this, it will happen. A confidence, a thought backed by will, the feeling backed by will, and a humble prayer. Intention has to be backed with humility. Humility has to be backed with love. Love has to be backed with clarity. And then only there is transformation. And we already talked about how to locate the points. Now, how to meditate at home. How do you connect yourself to the ultimate self? First thing is you want to meditate at the same place. When you meditate in the same place, you create an atmosphere. You create a vibratory field. In the mundane opposite level, you go to a disco dance. Even an old person like me, I can go in and I start shaking immediately. Because the vibration of that place is that everybody is moving, jumping, dancing. Take to the opposite. When you enter into a sacred place, even if you go to a temple, you start chanting because that's what the atmosphere there is. But if you are entering a silent place, you yourself will become silent. This is what conditioning is. And we have to create a place, even if we live in a small studio, one corner of it that you designate, this is my meditation spot, and I meditate there every day. So that is the first step. Find a separate place to meditate every day. And you meditate every day at the same time, preferably before sunrise, and fix a time. Because when you fix a time, what happens is how the entire whispers that were given in the Heartfulness method to Mother Helene by Babuji was, she meditated at the same time, so they were able to communicate to her. So meditation is a date with the ultimate, the Guru's consciousness. And most of the time, if you truly come into that deep meditative state, at the end of it, you are in this utmost contented state because you have experienced it. He is with you. The date is complete. The union is complete. And there is a state of a joy, a relaxation, a state of contentment, and a state of gratitude. These are the things that you experience as a condition after meditation. So you meditate at the same time. So now the ultimate knows you are waiting at the same time. And then keep your posture comfortable and spine erect. We don't have to sit cross-legged. It is good if we can, but at least keep your legs together if you are sitting on a chair. And you begin with the relaxation, and we already know why we do that. We need to empty the vestibules. And then you divert your attention to because your heart is the sacred space. Your heart is your soul. Your heart, this field of A, is what is directly connected to the ultimate. And your heart is what is being transmitted. It is the receiving ground of the sacred light from the above. That is why it's sacred. It is the ground that you receive in your field. So you come into that ground, your sacred heart. And first you begin by locating one finger down from the sternum, going 4 fingers inward. You locate the point B and you very humbly make the intention. All the impurities are leaving this field. And as this is happening, my soul is glowing in brightness. So automatically, when you come and turn the light on, first thing you do, you turn the light on. So darkness is gone. Same way you come into your heart's field and turn that light on with an intention, a humble intention. Use the power of the love, power of the prayer, power of intention, and make that it's leaving as smoke from the front. Just few minutes. And then from that point B, you are moving into point A field, because that is connected directly to the guide's consciousness. And now you are offering this prayer. It is not prayer is not a begging. It is you are coming. It's like a soldier Before they go on the war field, the commander gives attention, command. So you come to that state of being. In this state of being, there is utmost humbleness, and you are fixing your goal to be one with the ultimate, and you are realizing what is coming bar between you is the weight, the direction, the desires that your mind is being pulled to, and you accept it. Yes, I accept it. And third, I'm waiting for your help so I can relieve myself from this burden of the pull of the desires and move into thy field and be merged with you, merged with that highest consciousness. And when this kind of attitude is there, life force, prana, naturally starts to flow from the guide's consciousness. You don't need to, for him, he doesn't have, this like the mothers. Sometimes consciously they feed you every 3 hours. But in the night you are sleeping. But when the baby comes and latches to you, you don't even know you're feeding. You're feeding the baby. This is how the process happens. You latch to your mother's consciousness, the guide's consciousness. And you begin the meditation that reminding yourself the source of light is present within you. And that light is what's illuminating your entire being. And your mind, instead of being pulled to the desires, is being drawn to this light. And you are resting in this light with utmost reverence. And during this process, thoughts come, just ignore, take deep breaths, use the techniques to bring the mind, to take charge of the mind. Breathing makes you take charge of the mind. It makes your nervous system calm down. So this is how point B cleansing looks, which we just talked about. And intention at point A. And this also, I just talked about how to connect in the morning meditation. And when the meditation is done, you write your diary and you begin the day with this intention. This day is unfolding in the highest good. I am flowing through this day, accepting everything with love, joy, and gratitude. Because this is what we're going to experience at the end of meditation. And perseverance is the key for anything in life to achieve. This is what I taught my son. He was always comparing with his sister who was getting more marks than him. I said, it doesn't matter whether to make riches or be successful in education or to succeed in spirituality. Some people may come up with more balance than yours, more mental strength and intellect and finances than you. But those who use this capacity of perseverance is the one who reaches the goal. Like that, tortoise and the hare story. The hare can run fast, but the tortoise slowly but surely reaches the goal. So perseverance is the key, and make this quality a habit in our lives. So the journey deep into yourself leads you to your own heart of the being. So make this one a festive one. Meditate with joy and make an entry into your journal about your meditative experience. So this is the second class of understanding how to meditate at home. And next week, we will talk about cleansing in this class. And next Saturday also, we have a special class where we have invited Brother Victor Kannan, and he will be conducting a session on Saturday at the same time to give us some more understanding of this cleansing process.